Aaron Judge has been playing for the New York Yankees ever since he began his MLB career in 2016. But unfortunately, that time might soon come to an end. But that hasn't stopped him from showing the pinstripes some love in a recent game against the Cleveland Guardians. But he still has to look to the future, and David Ortiz thinks that's the New York Mets. We'll be covering all that in today's video. First off, Aaron Judge kisses Yankee logo. This MLB season is special for star New York Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge. It marks the last year of his initial professional contract with the team, and that's clearly struck a chord with him, considering he's turned up one of his best seasons yet, hitting a ton of home runs. But his 64th was special for him. The Yankees were facing off against the Cleveland Guardians in Game 5 in the middle of October. Judge went up to bat, and in the second inning, he hit a solo shot to go up 4-0. After he'd made it through the field and into the dugout, he was seen kissing the Yankees logo on the front of his shirt to celebrate the 394-foot shot. Showing love to your team's logo isn't a new thing in the world of baseball, but it's definitely a little bit strange considering Judge's current status with the team. He's set to become a free agent fairly soon, and this display has just made fans wonder about what's been going on behind the scenes. Judge apparently had a fairly contentious negotiation with the team, and that eventually led to the general manager, Brian Cashman, disclosing their offer to him on opening day. Judge then followed that up by playing a historic season and setting an AL record of 62 home runs, one more than Roger Maris's 61, set back in 1961. So it's no surprise that Judge's display of affection got fans hyped up for a potential renegotiation. Next, why he did it. We get why Yankees fans would be ready to jump at this, expecting that things are probably going well behind the scenes between Judge and the Yankees leadership. But we do think they need to bring down their expectations a bit. The tensions between Judge and the Yankees aren't born from small issues, and it would take a lot of concessions to make things better between them. And then, there's also the explanation for doing it that Judge gave himself. Speaking to reporters after the game, Judge dispelled any theories that might have arisen regarding him getting a contract renewal. Simply put, he's just been watching a lot of England Premier League soccer games recently, where kissing your team's logo is a lot more common than it is in the MLB. He said that he's just been seeing those players doing it a lot, and in the moment, he just sort of emulated that behavior. There wasn't much else to it. Not that he wasn't expressing his emotions through the act. Judge has always been proud to be a Yankee, ever since he was drafted by the team back in 2013, and once he began playing with them in the MLB. Unfortunately, though he's been vocal about wanting to be a Yankee for life, things might not turn out that way. Since there hasn't been much certainty about his future, he's kept those emotions to himself while playing this season. When confronted with questions about it, he's been fairly quiet. Coming up, the difficult negotiations. Things are pretty ugly when it comes to Judge's negotiations with Yankee brass. They made a contract extension offer to him on opening day, which he ultimately turned down, betting on himself to keep producing solid results and staying healthy throughout the season. Of course, we know that has absolutely been the case, and he's had an amazing season so far. That, no doubt, bumps up his perceived value, which could mean that he gets the extension he wants now. The Yankees themselves have left the door open for contract discussions while the season goes on, but Judge said that he wasn't willing to negotiate past opening day. That was likely exacerbated by what went down that day during the Yankees press conference. It was a very strange situation, to say the least. GM Cashman openly discussed the Yankees' offer to Judge, which was no doubt part of a public public relations strategy, hoping to get in front of any nasty business that might arise following Judge's decision to decline. After he made the contract offer public, he proceeded to say that they were no longer going to talk about the contract going forward. That didn't mean that they're not going to continue trying to negotiate, just that they weren't going to make the discussion public again. He then hastily threw in a bit of praise for Judge, no doubt hoping to trigger him and the media by saying that he's great and it's no surprise. Now, for details of the offer. At first glance, you might think that the offer the Yankees put in front of Judge seems fair. They were looking to pay him $30.5 million every season for the next 7 years. That definitely looks fair considering average annual value, but it has to be taken into account that other star players of about the same caliber as Judge have usually been paid more in recent years. You also need to consider the fact that Judge has become one of the biggest faces in baseball and is responsible for a lot of the Yankees' success. However, there are definitely reasons for the Yankees offering him a lower salary than one would expect. First, they've now noted his age in negotiations. He's hit the 30-year mark now, and MLB franchises have always been about signing on younger players. There's no doubt that he's still one of the best in the business, but he doesn't have as much time left in him. Second, Judge has frequently suffered injuries in the past few years, which can be a big problem if a team relies on him too much. For the Yankees to offer him an exceedingly great offer, they need to be certain that he'll remain in solid shape throughout his extension period. He might be in top form right now, breaking records and pulling the team through a remarkable AL Triple Crown chase, but there's no guarantee that that's going to continue. Moving on, Ortiz on Judge's next team. Given everything we've talked about, Aaron Judge's future with the Yankees doesn't seem certain at all right now. He only has a few games left with the team, and he has talked little about reopening contract negotiations. We don't know for sure if he's going to move away from the Yankees, especially since he said he wanted to be a Yankee for life, but everyone seems to be throwing in their 2 cents about what's next for him. The latest among these speculators is Boston Red Sox legend David Ortiz. He's been awarded with an All-Star honor 10 times throughout his career until it ended 2016. Having had 19 solid years in the MLB, it's safe to say that he knows what's what in the league. Ortiz recently appeared on Inside the Mets to speak with reporter Pat Ragazzo, and he had an interesting idea about what Judge's next move could be. His suggestion would no doubt infuriate die-hard Yankee fans, since it involved the New York Mets. They're sworn rivals. Essentially, Ortiz figures the Mets should approach Judge with a huge offer, way beyond what the Yankees are willing to make. He said that if he was in charge of the Mets, he'd be willing to give Judge $50 million for the next 5 or 6 years. Apart from the fact that he has so much star power and they'd be stealing a major player from their rivals, he thinks that he'd be a perfect fit for their lineup. Last, the potential for a Mets transfer. Ortiz believes Judge could be a really important asset for the Mets if they manage to pick him up in the offseason. If Judge is on the roster, he could hit second in the lineup, and he would also be a huge part of the fielding team, being able to play in all 3 outfield spots. If Ortiz had his way, Judge would be the highest paid player in the game, and that's high praise coming from one of the most decorated players in MLB history. However, the former Red Sox player isn't without his reservations though. The reason why he suggested a 5 to 6 year deal is because of Judge's many injuries in the past. If it wasn't for that history, he would have certainly suggested a deal that kept him on for 10 years. Now, you might think Ortiz's suggestion is far-fetched, but the current owner of the Mets, Steve Cohen, has previously made some big deals. So it isn't crazy to think that he'd dish out $50 million a year for someone as big as Judge. Besides, you also need to consider that the team was recently bounced from the playoffs in the National Wild Card Series, so they'd be looking to bolster the roster. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Judge should take the Yankees offer? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.